Hello everyone, welcome back to GGN. This is part 3 for this news report for today for Friday, May 31st, 2013. I'm Darko. My website is ggnonline.com. Also on YouTube, my channels are ddarko2012 and ddarko2013. And lastly, donations are welcome. I want to thank those who have helped me out. I really do appreciate it. Italian unemployment soars way beyond expectations, and it hits an all-time high. So it's just a reminder of the terribleness of the European economy. It says here just came in at 12%, which is well beyond expectations of 11.6%. It says that's the worst level since it began tracking this in 1977. 3.26 million jobless in France in April, says Labor Ministry. It says it's a record high of 3.26 million. Previous jobless record in the country was in January 1997, 3.1 million. And Eurozone, or EU overall, unemployment rates hit record 12.2%. Again, this is just like the United States. Yeah, it's no longer, these are people that are receiving government assistance, but it's people that are no longer receiving assistance that do not have work. So the agency said on Friday that a total number of 1.6 million people have lost their jobs during the 12 months leading up to April. The jobless rate in the Eurozone has soared for the 24th consecutive month. We're just talking about Italy and France, but it says Greece and Spain remain the hardest hit countries. And Barcelona firefighters, this is Spain of course, budget cuts demonstrations 2013. Pretty crazy pictures, man. Cops and cops bashing firemen, man. It's just unbelievable. Look at this guy, dude. I mean, he looks like just a regular friendly peace officer, doesn't he? What a joke. I mean, these guys will sit there and beat people until there's nobody left to beat left. Beat left over. They'll just whatever. They'll just take their orders. I mean, all the stuff you see in sci-fi movies and futuristic movies about big mega cities and a huge elite and most everybody's poor and huge police state and Big Brother police. I mean, it's very much possible. I mean, we're kind of already there, but it's just like when you got people that are willing to do this stuff, then yeah, they will. Very, very possible. This is in Catalonia. Remember, Catalonia was was one of those states that's trying to vie for independence from Spain. So EU moved away from its focus on tough austerity on Wednesday when it gave France, Spain, and 4 other member states more time to bring their budget deficits under control to support their economies. So they're protesting over austerity cuts. So it says any further reductions in staff and spending would put the safety of workers and the people of Catalonia at risk. Protesters try to bar access to Europe's central bank. Police say 2,500 attend largely peaceful Blockupy protests swarmed the European Central Bank in Frankfurt, Germany today. So the Blockupy comes in response to officials' approach to the region's debt crisis. So anti-capitalist protesters holding signs reading "Humanity before profits" and "War starts here," where they met armed police presence outfitted with riot gear and dogs. But though there were some reports of stone throwing, the event was largely peaceful. Those are probably cops. Tried to start something, but they didn't get what they wanted. Germany fears revolution if Europe scraps welfare model. The finance minister of Germany warned on Tuesday that failure to win the battle against youth unemployment would tear Europe apart, and dropping the continent's welfare model in favor of a tougher U.S. standards would spark a revolution. So Germany, along with France, Spain, Italy, backed urgent action to rescue a generation of young Europeans who fear they will not find jobs, with youth unemployment and EU standing at nearly 1 in 4, more than twice the adult rate. Far-right fascist plan marches across England. So it says anti-racist campaigners have warned of a day of hate in England this weekend as fascist groups English Defence League and members of the British National Party prepare for marches across the country. So this group, including Hope Not Hate, accused the far-right groups of exploiting the killing of British soldier. This is about the EDL taking their message of hate and division to communities across the country to try to stoke tensions and provoke a response. So this is what right here. The racist groups use the Woolwich murder as an excuse to spread Islamophobia. So it's like I said before, there's serious immigration issues. They're using this, especially the EDL, as a way to turn it into anti-immigration into Islamophobia. See, you're racist, right? It's very, very deep psychological warfare being played out right now. Like I said, I have hope for the long-term future, but for the short-term future, for like the next, maybe 5 years, 10 years, maybe even 20 years, I'm very pessimistic about it. And I don't have hate. I don't hate other people like someone said, Darko, talking about the Jews and homosexuals and non-whites. And it's like, dude, I don't hate them. I'm actually, if I have any kind of anger, it's towards my own people who are completely clueless. They're just completely naive. They'd rather see themselves exterminated and wiped out by design than to be politically incorrect. They have no spine. Another thing I thought today, it's amazing that entertainment and this junk food is medicating through junk food and whatever else, prescription drugs and alcohol and all that. That's actually we've actually helped defeat ourselves. There's a book by Neil Postman called "Amusing Ourselves to Death." I mean, I read that in college. I didn't think it was actually true, but it is. How powerful entertainment has been. UK divided, Islam used as a scapegoat in extremist attacks. So it says social rifts have been widening in the UK after a Woolwich murder and the discovery of the Oxford sex grooming ring, whatever. In the midst of a growing, that's the one I covered before. They're pimping out white women, young white women, these Muslims. In the midst of growing anti-Muslim protests, it has been suggested religion is merely a scapegoat in an already divided society. I saw someone on a comment board say, if you're fighting, blowing people up, you're a resistance fighter. But if you're trying to defend your country and your culture, you're an extremist. And it kind of makes sense too, because these people that would call them resistance fighters, like the opposition, the rebels who are terrorists, they don't mind funding that, but their biggest fear is people resisting globalization and the breaking down of national barriers or sovereignty. Which is why, ironically, I've been talking about this for the past 3 years, is that they will tie these Muslim extremists to right-wing extremists. UK far-right BNP leader defies March ban. So it says here the British National Party leader Nick Griffin has urged his supporters to ignore a police ban on the far-right group's planned march in Woolwich in southeast London. So it says here, ignore the reports of the march ban. See you there on Saturday. He posted on Twitter. So, like I said, anything that breaks up any kind of national unity is an ideal tactic or tool. Sending feminists and homosexual activists in Russia when they don't want it. That creates instability, creates division. And so they don't mind having all kinds of crazy protests going on for these minority issues, really non-issues. But when people want to protest about their country, their culture being destroyed, that's you can't do that. It's almost an act of terrorism. Thousands of workers protest at Cambodia factory that makes Nike clothing. About 3,500 workers protested on Wednesday at a factory in Cambodia that makes clothing for U.S. sportswear company Nike, refusing to give up their campaign for higher pay despite a crackdown by police this week. Police came with riot gear and stun batons were deployed to disperse 3,000 workers, most of them women. Slaves may be catching the fish you eat. 15 Burmese workers beaten, forced to work for Thai crews. It says here that slave labor in the Thai fishing industry, whose biggest buyer happens to be the United States. So out of sight, out of mind. People don't really care as long as they get their cheap goods, right? That's what unites people, man. That's what's insane. You have to think about, again, like using in entertainment, think about how what advertising has done to the average person. I mean, it's a culture of commercialism. People have like more intrinsic ties with a brand of shoes or pop or computer than they do their own heritage. It's sickening to me. I mean, think about it. Advertising always overrepresents certain minority groups, right? They always do that. And it tells young people, that's who they target. They target the youth. Because by the time that they get older, their complete childhood and all their whole upbringing is brought up by advertising and entertainment. I mean, that's what I say. You would never think that the economy would change. Would change society. You know, globalization would change society. Entertainment would defeat people. Would defeat a whole country. Would defeat the whole world. And that advertising would teach a way of life or morals or whatever to a whole generation of youth that just a generation or two ago wasn't even acceptable. But it's funny, UK activists, you know, oh, there's slaves out there working. You're all slaves. You know, just get it through your heads. Recession sliced Generation Xers net worth in half. They lost an average of $33,000 each. So those born between 1966 and 75 were hit the hardest by the wealth consolidation operation. Obamacare starts in 2014, but majority of Americans oppose Affordable Care Act, so they're going to force you to get health insurance, even though most people oppose it. So I think, me personally, I think that there's many reasons. Like I said, it's to skew the unemployment numbers. When people go to part-time, it will boost the unemployment numbers or decrease the unemployment numbers. Also, you'll have eugenics. You have a huge baby boomer generation, very sick, and leaving the workforce. At least they're trying to do. They're telling them, you got to keep working. There is no retirement. And of course that will not just so they can pay into the system, but of course so that they can pay for all the eugenics care that they get for cancer treatment and all this other type stuff that'll be completely marked up. I mean, that's why when cops shoot you in the head, they resuscitate you, because it's all about, like I said, maintaining the monetary system, the tax system. So they want to get you alive so that you can get back into the workforce. Rehabilitation in jail. I don't want to ever go back there again. Why? You want to get out and get a job, be a good citizen, pay my taxes. California Obamacare to increase individual health insurance premiums by 64 to 146%. So. One of the most serious flaws is that the blizzard of regulations and mandates dries up the cost for insurance for people who buy it on their own. It says here it will kick in on January 1st, 2014, letting many to worry about health insurance rate shock. Obamacare to trigger health insurance cancellation notices. These new insurance rules under Obamacare could lead to a host of personal insurance plans being canceled as early as this fall, a scenario expected to cause consumer confusion. Those policies that cannot meet new insurance plan standards may be discontinued. This means individuals and some small businesses that rely on those plans will have to find new ones. It's not that Obamacare is about people's health, it's about business, forcing people to conduct business. Ethnically diverse areas are happier, healthier, and less discriminatory, says study. I saw this posted yesterday. If you live in a neighborhood which is ethnically diverse, you are more likely to be healthier and less likely to experience racial discrimination, a new study has found. Says here, they say diversity is associated with higher social cohesion and greater tolerance of each other's differences. It says in that neighborhoods' high level of deprivation rather than diversity is linked with poor physical and mental health, low social cohesion, and race discrimination. More than 7 million people were born outside the UK in 2011. A census and survey data will be presented tomorrow at a conference attended by the study researchers, policymakers, and community organizations. So they're going to push this. They've already created it and forced it on us, and then they're going to just going to push it even more. Increased diversity is beneficial for all ethnic groups. So we say the policy agenda should develop strategies for inclusiveness rather than marginalization, minority identities, religions, and cultures. Buddhist mobs attack Muslim homes in Myanmar, 1 dead. Then we have this. Eurasian specialists warned that Central Asian ethnic enclaves are heating up. Connecticut approves driver's license for illegal immigrants. California gives driver's licenses to illegal immigrants. And they're in Nevada. They give driver's license for undocumented workers. Cuba says inclusion on U.S. terror list is shameful. Ironic, they keep Cuba on the state sponsors of terrorism. Austin Bomber is now speaking. He claims he's innocent. Father of Chechen killed in Florida says FBI murdered him in cold blood. The suspect was shot 6 times in the body and a control shot to the back of the head. Russia says the U.S. had enough information to stop the Boston bombing. This is GGN, and I'm Darko. Thank you.